Okay, next let's look at some of the billing features. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to head to the ICD tab so we can code our patients' illnesses. All right, so when you get here, this is what the screen looks like, and it's going to transfer this information automatically. So first you're going to want to start on this right side of the screen because you can see that there are no ICD codes that are assigned to the patient. At any time, you can simply click Go Back to Home, and it will take you back to the home. So there's a couple different ways that you can search for codes. These are predetermined codes, so only the codes that are in there are going to be searchable. It's not 100% of the codes, but the team did put together several hundred codes that are very common and usually all related to these case studies that we're putting together. If at any point you want codes added, simply just talk to me and we can create the addition. So there's two ways to do this. So you can simply start to type in the box with the codes a number, a letter, and you're going to see that the items below start filtering through. Okay, the second way to search a code would be to search by the name. So you can see that there's actually, quite a few, So let's take a peek and then let's choose a code. So I'm just going to make a code of something that starts with an N. So let's say we've got some postmenopausal bleeding, but you can choose anything you want. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to simply click over the code you want, and you should be clicking in the code side of the box, not in the name side. Just makes the code run easier. All right, it'll highlight in green, so you'll know that that's the one you've selected. Then you're going to see these two little arrows. Okay, one is to the left, one is back to the right. So if you want to put this in your patient's up to 12 ICD codes, what you're going to do is click go to the left. You can choose a second one, and it will add to the list. Let's say you make a mistake. You're going to choose the code over here, and you're going to choose the right arrow in this case, and you're going to take it off the list. Okay, and let's put her back on. Okay, so now once you've got the codes that can go on or off of this list, you want to make sure that you save these codes to your patient. If you just head to home, to do something else, these codes will not be available later. So let's save these ICD codes to our patient, and you're going to get a little pop-up that shows that these ICD codes have been saved. So that is the next step. We are then going to head home, and we're going to go do some billing with our patients. Okay, so now that you've added those ICD codes, we can head to this billing tab and create some billing. Of course, at any time you can return home, correct? You can view the patient's codes, which will just take you to a sheet with any of the patient's codes in it. Okay, but what we're going to do next, and you can see that their insurance, their percentage, and if it's a copay, that'll be on here instead. It's up here, so you'll see those things. We're going to simply, now we can add our procedures. Now that we've diagnosed, we can add our procedures. This will pop open. So you do want to choose your date of service. I'm just going to choose today. You can do either the drop down, or again, you can start typing with this drop down. So actually have this in drop down mode as you're typing, So as you type, it'll start to filter out. I'm just going to do a simple office visit. All right, so what is required, the provider that you put in on their face sheet will be here automatically. You need the date of service. You need, obviously, the CPT code. The charge will come up automatically. You can put in modifiers. Those are not required, so you don't have to put those in to move on in any way, just so that you're aware, and the charge is automatic. You do have to put in days or units, and it's ambulatory as this is kind of designed, This is the days and units. And then there's this last diagnosis pointer that you have to turn to. So if you do a pull down here, you're going to see if you didn't add the ICD codes first, this diagnosis pointer, or you didn't save them to the patient, this diagnosis pointer would not be here. So I'm going to just choose whatever diagnosis pointer. At any time, you can click a cancellation, It'll ask you yes or no. Okay, we're going to continue. But I'm going to add the CPT codes to my patient here. And this will have a little pop-up that tells you that the visit has been added. Okay, so now let's take a peek at our view our codes, and you can see right away that code with the charge and any of your modifiers is now on that view your codes. There is a default date on here to today's date from, right, since we're creating this, but you can apply some filter dates right to these or change the dates inside of here. So if you really have lots of charges for somebody, you can create a filter date. You can return all the way home, but I'm going to head back just to this CPT module so that we can see our last component, which is the patient ledger and payment options, which will really pull up this nice little ledger. Okay, so because this patient has a coinsurance amount, you will see the date of the original service, the description, the amount due by the patient, but because this was a coinsurance responsibility, right, this is the patient's 20%, okay, of the copay. Okay, so again, at any point you can return home, you can return to the CPT, right, go back to this patient ledger. So there's a whole lot of options here for that. You can also print the ledger. Okay, so we can print this ledger here. It will pull up an option for printing that looks nice, but this way they can turn in the patient's responsibility and print out their ledgers for you. Okay, so one caveat to the ledger is that when you click print ledger, it will overwrite, and you're going to find it in your document section. It's not going to bring a pop-up box like the last one. So you will see it's the last name of the patient, the first name of the patient, and the word ledger. So this is going to be the printout. It's not going to create that pop-up box like you just saw, but you will see the full patient ledger, right? So it'll print the number of pages. We're going to talk about doing payments in a whole other video, but this way you can print out the ledger.